Hi guys. So today we're discussing our most recent blog article, which is called Get With The Program. And in that article we were referencing movement competency or movement skill and how that relates to your risk of injury. We use the analogy of coding and programs, right? So if you have crappy coding, you will probably run a crappy program. So, and the opposite is true, right? If it's good, then it's going to run better. So what we want to do today is show you an example of what we mean by that, by looking at someone's movement skill and how that relates to activity. So we're going to talk more specifically about running. It's a more common activity that most people do. So Megan, our PT, is going to give you an example of what we mean.
So running is our example, but it can apply to a lot of things. So if you think about, someone with knee pain and they're having a hard time balancing on the floor, so wobbling a little bit, eyes closed, they can't really do it, or one side is a little bit more uneven than the other, then you're at risk for causing injury because you're not stable in a controlled environment. So think about running, which is way more impactful and variable, and it requires a lot more control of your entire body than just doing it in a controlled place like this clinic, for example. So if you are doing something like this fundamentally wrong, then sure, you might be able to go out and run, and most people do. We are capable of it, but the worse that you are in your fundamentals, you're more likely to have risk for injury or compensations that might show up, a year later, a few months later, or even 10 years later. So you kind of have to think of it that way. I think this applies to a lot of other concepts too. If you're in the middle of a squat and you're starting to load heavier weight, your knee starts to wobble. It's not really a big deal maybe the first couple of times, but think about if you're loading it with heavier weights or you're doing it faster like in CrossFit. So having these fundamentals is really critical, just like having really good code is critical to having a good program.
Yeah, so if you guys have any questions about anything that we talked about today, feel free to shoot us a message or a comment or anything like that, and we'll get back to you. Thanks for watching.